Alright guys, let me just finish watching this Michelle fan video real quick, and okay, let me just get rid of that. Kind of embarrassing, but do you guys ever do that? You just see a hot girl in the video and you just click it even though you know it's a dumb makeup tutorial? I can't resist, I'm a guy, so blame me. But anyways, welcome back to your fourth UDK tutorial, and in this tutorial I want to talk to you guys about this thing right here, the Viewport toolbar. We're probably not going to be covering everything in this tutorial, but we're going to knock a couple things out. So basically, I want to stress to you guys that every single viewport has a toolbar, and what this toolbar allows you to do is allows you kind of to customize your view to, depending on how you're working with your 3D models, what you're doing, it allows you to set it up exactly how you want. So this, red block is nice and all, but I'm going to go ahead and open a map that's a little bit more interesting. So go ahead and hit File, Open, and go ahead and open VCTF. Actually, just open your favorite map. It doesn't really matter what it is. Again, this is a lot better than that red block. So the very first thing I want to talk to you guys about is this, the Viewport Options drop-down menu. Now, believe it or not, all of these things, I don't want to say all of these things, about 80% of these options in here are just an alternative to these buttons. So you can either, they have these buttons, or you can choose them in a drop down menu. So it's not like totally new set of options. They just give you different way you can choose it. A couple things in this menu, however, are not options in our toolbar menu, so we need to cover those. The first thing I want to cover is the show menu right here. I know you guys don't know what half this stuff is right now, or probably all of it right now, but whenever we're working in our viewport, we notice all these little designer light bulbs and wireframes and lines and stuff. Whenever we learn what these things are, and we said, alright, I want to see something, but it isn't displaying in my viewport, chances are that's because you don't have it selected in your show menu. Now again, I know you guys don't know any of these things are, so once we're covering them, I'm going to be covering them again in the upcoming tutorials, but for now, just remember, in the future videos, whenever you think you should see something and it's not displaying, go here, that's probably what the problem is. Now, another thing, again, like I said, I'm not going to be covering all this stuff like show volumes, sprites, because that's a whole separate tutorial. We're nowhere near learning that yet. But one thing I do want to cover is this. Remember in the last tutorial I taught you guys about the different viewport types? Well, that's just how it is set up by default. The top left is the side, the top right is the front, top over here, and this is the perspective. But you can change that if you want, and you can change it by choosing this. The drop down menu viewport type, you can change this to the top if you want, or you can go ahead and change it to the front. By default, this is perspective, so that's how I'm going to leave it. I just want to show you guys, if you want to set up your viewports in a different way, you have the option of doing that. You're not locked in this default view right here. So with that being said, that's all I really want to cover in this drop down menu. Again, all of these things right here, they're buttons that we're going to be going over in the upcoming tutorials, and these other options right here, like volumes, layers, sprites, and culling and occlusion and unlit movement, we're not even anywhere near that, so going over it would just confuse you guys, probably confuse me too. What I do want to go over is this real time. Again, this P is just a viewport type, we already covered that. The next thing is this real time option. Now with this real-time option, and by the way, I have no idea why the icon is a stamp. If anyone knows, then please let me know, because I think it's a stamp. It might be something else, but it just confuses me. So I have no idea why it's a stamp, but basically the real-time option is this. Anytime you're working in Viewport and you have either an animation or an effect, it doesn't play that animation or effect by default. Let me go over and actually let me find an animation or effect. I think there's a waterfall somewhere around here. Here we go. So let's go ahead and look at this waterfall. Let me go ahead and zoom out and check it out. Whenever we're working in this viewport, the waterfall looks like it's freezing. It's not moving at all, even though if we were to play the game, the waterfall would appear to be moving water. That's because whenever we're just working in the viewport, we don't really need to see that effect. We don't need it to eat up our computer's memory, it will take extra resources from our computer that we don't have to spare right now. However, we do have the option of watching this waterfall move, and that's by clicking this real time button. So go ahead and click this real time button, and now, even though we're working in the viewport and we're not playing the game, we can see these effects and animations begin to play. So that's how we can, kind of see effects and animations start to play. I usually switch this up because, like I said, it does take some extra memory from your computer, and we want to save all the memory we can when we're actually working with models. Another thing concerning this real time is this. Whenever we're working with objects, so I know I'm not talking to you guys about these different views like wireframes, but go ahead and switch to wireframe and actually just follow along for this tutorial. Whenever you have an object selected like this, say you have this object selected. Well, whenever you select it and hit home, every viewport is going to snap to that object. Now check it out. If I were to go ahead and move this object, look at this. And by the way, I know you guys don't know how to move objects, but I just want to talk to you guys about real time for a second. Whenever you go ahead and you move this object in one viewport, notice all the other viewports. Notice this one up here and this one and this one. The object isn't moving even though we're actually moving the object in our, in our UDK. So you're saying, alright, even though I'm moving it, why isn't it moving up here? Well, again, like I said, it's to save memory. But if you want to see it, like maybe you're trying to position it in a certain type of way, what you can do is you can go ahead and check these real-time options right here. And whenever you check these real-time options, check it out. Whenever we move it now, the object is indeed moving in those viewports. So again, in the future, whenever we learn how to move models around, how to rotate them and stuff like that, if we want to move it in one viewport and see the actual difference as it's happening in other viewports, that's the option that we need to check, that real-time option. So again, those are the two important aspects concerning real time. One, whenever we have real time selected, all of our animations and effects we can see in real time. And also, whenever we're moving objects in one viewport, they move also in real time in other viewports. So again, anytime you want to switch those off, just go ahead and switch them off, and off. And by the way, the benefit of switching them off rather than leaving them on all the time is just it helps save some of your computer's resources. So that's all the time I have in this tutorial. I know there are a lot of more buttons that we need to cover, but for the sake of this tutorial, I have more time, but I want to go watch some of Michelle fan videos. So that's the truth. I'm going to watch some more makeup tutorials, and you guys watch this video over and over until you're a pro with real time and viewports. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.